go, because I want to know, next up, what were you thinking when Dr. J
Dr. J was
you.
the single most vibrant, exciting, dynamic player I ever played against by far. Kareem was the best player.
Right.
But Dr. J, what he did, coming down the lane, oh my gosh, I'm there, I have it. Oh, come on, ref. He's using my shoulder as a catapult there, please.
When did you realize that this wasn't going to go the way you thought it was?
Today. So Dr. J, the classiest dude ever. We're in the same Hall of Fame class, and they went alphabetical order. And so they get to Dr. J first, and I'm at the very end. And every one of his highlight films was him dunking on me. Everyone, and the crowds, ooh, ah, ooh, man. And so Dr. J gets up there, and the classy dude that he is, because everybody thought, I'm throwing it down in Bill's face, right? And Dr. J gets up there, and calm and dignified as can be, much like me, and he said, he says, ladies and gentlemen, just please note that Bill's team, they won that championship.
There we go.
Against Malone, pass is deflected, going to be stolen, I think, by the doctor. Yes, he's got it. Here he comes. Ray rocked the baby to sleep and slammed.
He's on the break, so he can't think about what he's going to do. Instincts just take over. It's just, you have to have that in your game, in your DNA.
To come from the sideline, where you rocking the ball one side to the next, and you got a defender in front of you. And the defender knew when he got in the air that he had no chance.
You know, he brought so much creativity to the game.
Here comes Julius Erving. You know what's next. Oh, what a shot by the doctor!
You know, the under the hand against the Lakers, where you're behind the basket. We all tried to do it once he did it.
What a play by Erving. That's a play that only Julius could make.
I guess I would have never had those visions if I hadn't have seen Dr. J in his time.
I definitely remember Julius Erving. I was at that stage, I guess, where I really got into basketball when he was sort of in his prime. Dr. J, to me, was the NBA, and I just remember him dunking on everybody.
Dr. J was a beautiful basketball player to watch. You know, crazy style, fly through the air. He dominated games when he wanted to. Dominated. And he just said, okay, that's it. My show tonight, I'm going to affect the whole game. He just dominated, and dominated with grace and style. Oh, man.
Julius Erving with an incredible shot.
Even looking back at it now, and I'm in the NBA and I'm playing, and I appreciate even more the stuff that he's done.
He played above the rim, he played around the rim, underneath. You know, he did a lot of different things, and you have to give the credit to Dr. J.
And the doctor.
Man, he did a move, which is the all-time greatest move I've seen. When we cut him off baseline, he started walking in air. Got the ball in one hand. And we said, wait a minute, he's got to come down. There's no way he can stay in the air that long.
84 Sixers, and they get inside. And the doctor with his magic shot.
Cooper and I said, should we ask him to do it again? We've never seen anything like that before. It was crazy.
But the entertainment, my friend, is in the style.
Man, the doctor, oh brother.
Julius was like that bird coming in on the wing, swooping in.
We always looked at Dr. J as like an alien. Where'd this guy come from? You know, look at what he does out on the court. My God, you know, there was nobody like him.
Me and Darryl Dawkins over there. Oh, my, he was the first guy I ever saw with air brakes. Air brakes. He was going to the basket straight, and all of a sudden, he said, and started going sideways.
How did he do that?
I was like, you know, somewhat like a girl. Oh! Never saw that before.
I didn't realize how long I had been in the air, but I knew I didn't have any legs left, and I didn't have any hang time left, so I fell on the floor.
Michael? Well, Dr. J is who you would start your league with. And he's the guy who can be an ambassador for the league, and he could be a spokesman, and his style of play was infectious. So he would create all of those things that those three had. Dr. J was the first league ambassador.
Bro really set him apart, especially in his ABA days, coming in, merging into the NBA. But look, I grew up a Laker fan, and in '83, obviously, you know, when Philly played the Lakers, how many of us here, seriously, after that move, when he went baseline and he held it, and how many of us went outside and tried to do that? We didn't have the big hands, but we all tried to be like Dr. J. We all tried to sail. We all tried to jump from the free throw line. I think he originally won the first slam dunk competition.
Reggie, you mentioned the fro. How about the shoes?
Yeah.
Isn't he the first guy who had his own shoe? The doc, remember the Converse Dr. J?
Yeah. You're right, Steve.
I don't think anybody else up
Chuck
to that
Taylor.
point had their own Chuck Taylor. Right.
Doc was the first brand.
Yeah.
I think when also to echo Charles, you know, because Doc lives here in Atlanta and I'm still with him, you know, being around him, you're still nervous around Doc. You know, I still go up to him and I say, Doc, how you doing? And he said, I'm fine, Steve. He still has that fatherly figure over you. And like you said, Kenny, he's an ambassador of the league. I mean, Dr. J is something my dad talks about, my granddad talks about, I still talk about. I mean, I think he'll go one player like Michael, and those players will go through generations.
Doc's in your locker room. Did you approach him and say, hey, I'm Charles Barkley? Did he see you and say, welcome? How did that all work?
I've told this story 100 times and I never get...
I must not have been listening.
I told the brothers. Just the brothers. Ernie, the night before training camp, I was up all night. I was nervous, because it was my first training camp, obviously. But the number one thing I thought about the whole night was, how am I going to approach Dr. J? Do I call him Dr. J, Julius, Mr. Erving? I had cold sweats thinking about that. And so I'm sitting in the locker room. Because first of all, not only that, Moses, Bobby Jones, Andrew Toney, Maurice Cheeks, like the Sixers, this was their heyday. So I was up like, God, I want to see all these guys I've been watching on TV. I don't know what to do. And Doc was clearly at the forefront. And I'm sitting there, finally, I'm in the locker room, and I said, well, I don't know what to do. And Doc comes over and said, hey, young fella, I'm Doc. And I said, I'm Charles Barkley. Ernie, I can't explain how nervous I was. Because like I said, that's when the Sixers was in their heyday. And seeing Doc and Moses Maurice and Bobby and all those guys, but Doc was the guy. That's one thing I always, like, we'll all have this in common. When we're growing up as little kids, there's very few players, the kids, say, I'm Dr. J, I'm John Havlicek, I'm Magic Johnson, I'm Larry Bird. We all got somebody, you know, who we are. And man, Doc was the guy for most people, especially somewhere like me.